There's no stopping globalization and automation, according to Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google and the Alphabet company. He's saying, listen, it's coming. You got to educate yourself, and nobody can regulate it away. It is here to stay, and it's coming quickly. Check it out. Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFN TV. You know, I want to be able to tell you that, this globalization, people are, saying they're against globalization. The church is a global, a body, a global church. And that, God wants us to reach everyone, but there's an economy too and these other things going on. And so people are against globalization, some people are for globalization, but if you look at where everything's made, when you look at where it's made,
it's here.
It's made all over the world. Yeah, it's here. But Eric Schmidt, the head chairman of CEO in the Alphabet company, he's being interviewed and he's talking about globalization, and he said that because the big thing is about jobs. And our President Donald Trump is bringing great jobs in, and he's bringing companies in, which is totally contrary to where globalists want to do, because they want to basically replace employment with technology and then figure out something to do with human beings. But God's created us to work. But this is Eric Schmidt. This whole interview is pretty awesome, but we're going to show you just a piece of it where Eric Schmidt's saying, listen, the argument really is you can't stop globalization, you can't stop automation, which is like AI, artificial intelligence. You got to be educated to be able to get jobs. As a matter of fact, check it out.
That you have two forces that are going to govern much of what's going to happen in the future. The first is globalization, which we're not going to repeal, and the second one is automation, which we're not going to repeal. And if you look, these problems are ultimately cast in political systems in the West, and I think eventually globally, as jobs problems. And the solution to jobs problems, in my view, is education, right? Education at many levels in many different ways, which we can discuss. I don't see another solution to this. It's absolutely true, as Peter says, that these gems, if you will, and you were nice enough to call those companies, describe them so well, they're not employing enough people.
This is so important. When you're looking at this, these guys are gathering all this data, and data is, if you can find out what to do with data, and we talked about that before. Yeah. We have a great program in regards to, we're talking about this particular movie called Her. We're talking about how technology works and how when you push a button on your computer on the internet, it travels the entire world, spins around, comes back through New York, swings back to your computer again, and just a blink. And so for your internet at all to use it, it's global. As a matter of fact, Netflix is reported using 1/3 of all capacity of all that's used out there. They use 1/3 of it that's going on.
Well, Eric Schmidt was talking about this globalization and these jobs. He's so true. The key is going to be education, because I just saw a video where a robot is flipping burgers.
Oh, yeah.
The idea is to keep educating people so they can do more intellectual things.
Well, you think about it, there was farmers at one time, and it took a long time for this to happen, where agricultural was like 70-80%, and it went down to like 2% today, something like that.
Yeah, it's 2%.
And so, but it took a long time. But this is not going to take a long time. This is actually happening rapidly, and you can't stop it because of the leaders and the people that are in the corporate area are pushing that way. And God told us it's going to go this way. The question is, what do we do with the time that we have? The time is obviously always limited. We have a particular lifespan. It's called a vapor in the book of James. But also, you just don't know how much time you have this awesome opportunity to be able to reach the world. Because of you, our VFN KB partners, that we're standing together in our community, we're reaching all 196 countries and 7 territories in the world, because good things can happen as well. But this is kind of odd what's taking place here. We want to show you that Jared Kushner, he's the son-in-law and also the advisor to President Donald Trump. He's the son-in-law of President Trump. He's the husband of Ivanka.
Of Ivanka. And it's interesting that we don't hear much from him, but when he does speak, like you're about to hear now, the topic that he talks about is...
And one of the fixes for VA, because VA was being neglected, for the vets, was to take the medical records, and put it in with the federal government records, and therefore they're not different databases. Well, it was very helpful. But now they're talking about taking everybody's medical information and making it public, which means if somebody breaks into that data, they're going to know everything about you. So much for the HIPAA law when you think about that. Listen to Jared Kushner talk about this very thing. And the word he's going to mention, don't worry about it, we're going to talk about this new word. What's the key word?
Interoperability.
Yeah, that's a big word that means they're going to take your data. Check it out.
Data is transforming every aspect of our lives, and its impact on health innovation is just beginning to be felt. Every form a patient fills out and every bit of information gleaned by doctors, nurses, and specialists is useful in building out a plan of treatment or care. Yet all too often that data is siloed. Patients go from clinic to clinic, unable to access or transmit that data to allow other providers to see the full picture of one's health. For many, navigating a course of care is time-consuming and often as burdensome as the ailment itself. The time is now to align every facet of the federal government and the private sector to ensure information is communicated and shared seamlessly. Simply put, interoperability is about our shared bottom line, saving lives.
He had no idea. We're going to Google the definition of that word. Like, what?
We're going to find this out.
Interoperability.
Well, listen, it's
you hear these words. This is the always do. A diaspora, I think FBI director said about ISIS. What that really means, they're going to spread across the.
Say that again.
I think it's like there's going to be a diaspora, some diaspora or something. It's like you started saying to Congress that ISIS is going to spread all over the earth as soon as we deal with, their caliphate. They just use a word like this, and this is another word they're using. Saying, they're going to take all of our medical data and put it together in one particular place. What's that word mean?
It's defined as the ability of computer systems or software to exchange and make use of information.
And it tells about some examples here, right?
One example would be between devices made by different manufacturers, the ability of military equipment or groups to operate in conjunction with each other.
And the ability of systems or software to exchange and and decipher information.
Yeah.
And so, what they're basically saying is, you went to your doctor and you got, some medicine or whatever, and that's personal between you and your doctor, and there's laws right now that protect that.
Yeah.
The HIPAA laws, and they have to get your permission. That's why I asked you to sign the form to pass it off. But once you put all this medical data in an online type secure environment, which they just got hacked during the last administration.
If they're hacking the banking system, the money, and they're getting into it,
right.
I know they're going to be able to hack into this.
Well, and the thing is too, to understand that some leaders get in place and they allow it to happen.
Yeah.
They allow, and when you're talking about spying on countries, well, Americans can't spy on Americans, and they're learning that right now. They're talking about the investigation, but you know what they do? They actually go to Canada, and reportedly, Canada spies on us, England spies on us, and they can give us information about us. So when you put this data in there, it's going to be, once it's out there, and of course it's going that way. You can't buy or sell is what it talks about, in Revelation, what's going to happen in these days. But the question is, what do you do with this? Because we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on globalization? What's your thoughts on, the automation, artificial intelligence? And it's very helpful. But look what we're giving up. We're giving up all of our, you have no private business anymore. It's all getting public, and some people think that's the best thing to have. The founder of Wikipedia is like that. But listen, comment below, write to us, email us. Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFN TV. A lot of people want to abide with the Lord, but they just don't have a plan to do it. You can request that plan today at iabide.org. I'm your host, Greg Lancaster, and we're so glad that you've joined us. Don't forget you can join us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download our app and sign up for our newsletter, The Torch, at vfntv.com. I've enjoyed our time together. God bless.